This video is brought to you by Robyn's Goodreads account, links down below. Add her for book reviews and recommendations.
Please.
Hello and welcome to Spinster's Library. I'm Claudia.
And I'm Robyn, the guest spinster.
Yeah. We have a pretty big haul to show to you today.
Be prepared for a big video.
Yeah. Right. I don't even know where to start. We've got books piled up around us.
So, we headed out today. Claudia wasn't that keen on going out, but I dragged her out anyway. And we both managed to spend some money on books.
Yeah,
in charity shops.
I just remind you that I didn't need any books. I wasn't planning on buying any books. I went out completely in a supportive role, trying to get her some books.
Yeah,
so these are mine. What did she?
Oh. These are mine.
I think you better start.
I probably should start. Okay. Friend request.
Bye.
Oh, I always forget the author. That's so important as well. It's by Laura Marshall, and it sounds extremely creepy. I won't say too much about it, but basically, friend request, social media, creepy
thriller, right?
Thriller type thing. But I was sort of browsing Goodreads, and this came up, and I thought, oh, it's probably just some weird take on social media horror type thing. But actually, from reading, the blurb, it's really quite exciting. So I thought I'd give it a go.
Okay, well, I went crime as well, but a bit more old-fashioned. I finally got myself an Agatha Christie, and this is Murder on the Orient Express. I picked this up because it's a title I recognise. It's quite short, and I've never tried Agatha Christie.
Crush her.
Agatha Christie. Anyway, I've never tried an Agatha Christie, and I think this is probably a good one to begin with.
And let me know how you get on with that, because I'd like to give Agatha. Why can't I say that?
It's just a stupid name, isn't it?
Agatha Christie. If you say it like a posh person, it comes out quite well. Okay. I'd like to get into Agatha Christie. Alright, my next pick is The Welsh Girl by Peter Ho Davies.
This is a beautiful cover.
So I mean, it's a shame about the stickers. I'll work on that. It really, I don't know, the Welsh girl being in North Wales. I just picked it up and thought this sounds interesting, and it's kind of like Second World War kind of setting, and yeah, I mean, it's what was it, a 3-star rating on Goodreads. But I just thought, you know what, it's the cheapest charity shop book I've ever seen, 75 pence. And I thought, yeah, I'll give it a go. And I do like reading novels that are based in somewhere where I'm familiar as well.
The next book I got was actually on your recommendation, and it's Brighton Rock by Greene.
I studied it at school, and I thoroughly enjoyed it.
I know nothing about it, but it is a title I've heard of. Is it a mid-century classic type thing? Yeah, it's first published in 1938. Yeah, I can't say anything more about it because I don't know anything about it.
I think you'll enjoy it. It's kind of, I remember studying it at school and thinking it was quite exciting, and yeah, just a good book to read, I think. And
the early 20th century fiction is one of my favourite eras of classic.
Okie dokie, my next pick. Oh, I didn't even read it. The Song of the Skylark by Erica James. First of all, I was kind of pulled to it by the title. So I studied sort of singing at university, and so Song of the Skylark, I just thought it sounded quite a nice title.
Is that war fiction as well?
It is, yes. I picked it up, thought the cover was gorgeous, noticed that it was a Sunday Times bestseller. Don't know too much about it. Very pretty cover, will look good on a bookshelf, and see how we get on.
The next book I got is Ali Smith's Autumn. And obviously this is a bit of a booktube favourite. So Ali Smith, this is the first in a sort of series of slightly connected books that she's writing. So Winter is out now, and then I'm guessing she's gonna release Summer.
Spring.
What's nature? I'm good at nature.
Nature.
Seasons. I would say the seasons are part of nature.
Yeah, fair enough.
I've never read any Ali Smith before. As far as I know, it's fairly weird, so I don't know how well I'll get on with it, but I'm definitely happy to give it a try.
I'm on a bit of a roll with the pretty book covers today.
That's my favourite
that you got. This is absolutely stunning. So it's called Beautiful Day by Kate Anthony. I thought it was just a nice title, really. Pulled it out and thought the cover was even more gorgeous. So it just seems like a bit of a messy kind of home life story, and how it gets resolved, and don't really know much. Very pretty. Hopefully the contents will be just as pretty as the cover.
Yeah, let's hope so. So the next one I got is The #1 Ladies Detective Agency by Alexander McCall Smith. This one has been on my to-read list for a while, and it was also recommended by a friend of ours.
Perfect.
So, as far as I know, well, actually I don't know much about it. I know it's about a woman who sets up a detective agency in Botswana, and it's supposed to be quite fun, I think.
And weird to see a green cover. I haven't seen many green covers.
Yeah, it does look a little bit outdated, doesn't it?
Yeah, I like it though. So my next one, Best Kept Secret by Jeffrey Archer. Again, we're going back to World War II. I think there's a bit of a theme going on with my picks today.
I really hope you like the war fiction.
I know, could you imagine?
If that's like not your genre at all.
No, I think I'd be quite into it. Thought it was quite an interesting title. That's the thing with these charity shop hauls. I must say, actually, I think a lot of it does come from looking at the titles and thinking, that sounds really interesting, as opposed to knowing much about it. So it's quite interesting to see why people pick things up off the shelf, because I'm sure there are plenty of other people out there who would not even touch this. So, yeah.
Although I have to say, you go into charity shops with a lot more research than I do. I think you even had like a list on a piece of paper last time, or on your phone, was it?
Yeah.
Whereas I very much go like, oh, I've heard of this name, or maybe it's something that's actually on my to-read list, but you're very informed about what you want to read.
I think, you know what I think it is because I'm still getting into reading, and well, I'm into it definitely now,
but you're new to it.
Because I'm new to it, I think I'm really careful about what I want to pick up, and therefore I do kind of plan ahead, what kind of things am I looking for, what are the names, what are the titles, and I do have specific books in mind, but then I go, you know, I don't just look for those books, I look elsewhere as well, just to be a little bit more open-minded, and I do end up with interesting books.
For you, yeah. Okay, the next one that I've got is also on your recommendation, and that's The Boy in the Striped Pyjamas by John Boyne.
Made me cry.
I haven't read it yet. I didn't even know there was a film.
There is a film. So I'll hold my hands up. I've only seen the film. I've not read the book. But if Claudia recommends it, I will read it after she's finished with it.
Yeah.
And the film made me cry. It's a really wonderful, heartbreaking story, and it's, you know, it's very sympathetic towards that time, let's just say.
Okay, what have you got next?
So, yeah, my next one is The Curious Incident of a Dog at Nighttime by Mark Haddon.
Mark Haddon. I want to say Marcus, but it's
Marcus.
Mark Haddon.
Just you're in the posh head now. Marcus. Mark Haddon. So I like dogs. I'm going to be honest with you. That's the only reason I picked this up.
As you can tell from the cover, the dog does not come to a good end in this.
No. But I like dogs. That's the reason why I picked it up. However, Claudia did then give me a little bit of insight.
Yeah, I read this book, I want to say when it came out, definitely when it was big. It kind of reads like a children's book, but also not. As I said to Robyn earlier, I have not read anything good since by Mark Haddon, which is slightly disappointing. I give his books a try every now and again, but this one is definitely really worth the hype.
Yeah, perfect. So looking forward to that.
And the last book I've got is Gilead by Marilynne Robinson, and I picked this entirely because I've heard about it on booktube videos. I know nothing else about it. People rave about this, so I'm happy to read it even if I don't know what it's actually about. Okay,
so my last one from our haul today was, Chris Carter, The Caller. It's reminded me, when I read the blurb, it reminded me a lot of Friend Request, but it's all about like phone calls as well and hacking by the sounds of it. Stalking, hacking, which I find is quite interesting given, you know, the life we live in now. Everything is so heavily based on social media, and it is getting quite creepy actually, how people can get so in depth into your life. So I thought, again, something interesting, something that's kind of relevant to today. Give it a go.
So this was the stuff that we got together, but before we got together, we separately went and bought some more books as well.
We betrayed each other. I felt so guilty. Claudia didn't.
You sent me this really kind of weirdly guilty Facebook message saying, "I'm sorry, I went to the shops without you." And I'm like, I'm in Germany. What do you expect me to do? Like,
and I did get some good finds.
To be fair. You really did.
To be fair.
Get started with them then.
Okay, so the first one that I got was The Casual Vacancy by J.K. Rowling.
So did you get all of these also from charity shops?
All of these also from charity shops. Yeah, I'm always going to charity shops nowadays. So I have finished reading the Cormoran Strike novels. Without going into too much detail, because I could go on forever, I absolutely had the best time ever reading them, and I cannot wait for the new one to come out this year.
Yeah.
Previous video, I was put off by Harry Potter, but I thought I would give her a go, and if I enjoy Casual Vacancy as well, I might actually give Harry Potter another go with a fresh mind. Yeah. But I feel like this book will be like what makes me keen or not.
Oh no, I hope not, because I didn't really like it all that much.
I feel like I might though. From looking at the blurb, I feel like I might get on with it well, and I think it's also the writing style as well that I'm looking for as well. Whether I can get on with it. It is beautifully
written. It's kind of a village story, it's about different characters in this town.
Yeah.
But it's so different from Harry Potter. Like, if Harry Potter's over here, Robert Galbraith is in the middle, and the casual vacancy is all the way over here.
But if I enjoy that end, then I reckon I could come over. That's the plan.
But I'm
being open-minded.
I remember when this came out, this was the first book to come out by J.K. Rowling after Harry Potter, and everyone was massively disappointed because they were expecting another magical story. Yeah. But it's not. It's a good book, but it really is completely different from Harry Potter. So I hope you don't base your decision on that.
No, but it's writing style as well is important.
Yeah.
Okay, what did you get?
So I spent the last 2 weeks of April in Germany, and that's where I got all of these books from. So this one I got from a bookshop. I hadn't been in a proper bookshop for such a long time.
Really? Wow.
And when I went to Germany again, I was quite shocked at how expensive books are there. So... yeah, in Germany there's a law that dictates the price of books, which means that a book costs the same everywhere, and it's not the shops that fix the price. Pretty cool, there's there's regulations about it. It's supposed to protect the author to make sure they get money.
I was gonna say, yeah.
Yeah. This one is a Swedish book called Die Katze, die kam zu bleiben. That means the cat that came to stay.
Aww.
By Nils Uddenberg. No points for guessing why I picked this one up. It's translated into German. And when I paid for this at the till, the bookseller told me that she really loved this as well, and then we got into a very long conversation about our cat. Well, that was like a queue building up behind us. So I think it's just about someone who gets a cat, and it's a very cutesy kind of saccharine story about getting a cat.
I think the first one I got was To Kill a Mockingbird. So I studied this at school. I'm pretty sure it was GCSE.
It's sort of thing you do at school.
Yeah, maybe even earlier than that actually. But anyway, we studied To Kill a Mockingbird, and I remember being so interested in just the way it was written, and the story really resonated with me. I just found it so I just had a lot. I had a lot of feeling for it. So I have already read that, but I really wanted my own copy. So then I think we were out together when I first noticed this. Go Set a Watchman, also by Harper Lee, and initially I thought, wow, it's incredible that she's written another book. I had no idea. And then
I told you about the story, how the publication of it was kind of dodgy. I'm sure everyone here will be able to do their own Googling if they don't know about it yet. Yeah. So it was published under slightly dodgy circumstances, but that doesn't mean that you can't read the book.
Absolutely.
And I'm very interested in hearing your opinion on this.
Have you read this?
No.
You've not read it?
No.
So for me, I felt that it would be uncomfortable to buy it from a bookshop. Mm-hmm. I thought it's secondhand.
Yeah, someone's already paid for it.
Someone's already paid for it, basically. I was just supporting a charity by buying it. So I don't feel like it's the end of the world for getting it. I don't feel guilty about getting it. I'm just intrigued because I really enjoyed To Kill a Mockingbird. I'm just intrigued.
And it will definitely add an extra dimension to it.
Yeah, I think so. So I'm looking forward to having these on my shelf.
Yeah. This next book I also bought in Germany in a proper bookshop, and it's Ging, Gegangen by Jenny Erpenbeck.
Say that again?
Do you want to try?
Gehen, Ging, Gegangen.
Oh, well done.
Gegangen.
So I picked this one up because it was recommended by Mel from Mel's Bookland Adventure. She's a German booktuber who lives in Birmingham, I believe.
Oh, fantastic. Hi, Mel.
Yeah. She's great. And because I'm really on the lookout for good German contemporary literature. And I feel like it's vaguely about immigration, but again, as you can see, I don't do a whole lot of research before I buy a book, so...
It could be a good thing, though, going in blind. It's like blind date with a book, isn't it?
Yeah. What did you get next?
Okay, so another one, I've already read this. Okay, bit of background. So I found it really difficult. Sorry, The Remains of the Day.
By Kazuo.
I'm not even going to try.
It's Kazuo Ishiguro.
By Kazuo Ishiguro?
Yeah.
I'm not blushing, I'm actually sunburned. So I picked this one up. I think it may have been the second book I read this year in a long time. So this was quite an interesting one for me. I found it really difficult in terms of the pace, but I persevered, And actually, when I finished reading it, I gave it 4 stars because I just found it such a beautiful read, actually. And, you know, I'm really glad that I did persevere because it was so lovely. That was a while ago now. I've since read another 8 books or so. But I have actually gone back and rated it 5 stars because I've been thinking about it. I've been recommending it. It's one of those that sits with you for a while. So I really wanted my own copy. So that's what I did.
Definitely one of my standout reads of the year.
Yeah.
So far, absolutely. Loved it. Right, so the next books I didn't buy, I stole them off my parents' bookshelf. So I picked them off. The first one is a Doctor Who novelisation of the classic 60s episode Marco Polo.
Nice.
This is, I believe, one of the lost episodes, so the BBC used to reuse their tapes, so a lot of 1960s Doctor Who episodes got lost.
Oh no.
I think this one may have resurfaced recently. I think they have restored it, but if they have, I've not seen it yet. Anyway, I'm not expecting this to be great because, like, those kinds of novels based on TV shows and other things don't tend to be great, but I'll try it.
Yeah, why not? My next 2 were actually side by side. So it's The Fellwalker and The Fellwalker's Legacy by Michael Wood. I like hiking, I like mountains, I like the Lake District, I like that kind of thing. And so these books are based in the Lake District and the Scottish Highlands, and I think the first one is also based in Manila. I'm not entirely sure about the second. So I kind of bought them on a bit of a whim, really. I wasn't too sure anything about them, but the title sort of stood out to me because The Fellwalker, and that's kind of what I like doing. So I actually started reading The Fellwalker, the first one. So far so good. I am nearly 50 pages in and I'm really enjoying it. So I think that I was quite lucky in the sense that I bought 2 books from a series without really knowing anything about them. So yeah, really looking forward to finishing that off.
So the next book I stole from my parents' bookshelf is Gulliver's Travels by Jonathan Swift. Have you read this?
I know the story. It's lovely.
Okay. Yeah, I know bits of the story, but I've never read it, and it's my sort of thing, isn't it? It's actually, it's older than the classics I tend to read, isn't it, from the 18th century?
Yeah.
But either way.
Gulliver's Travels.
Yeah.
Whoop, whoop. Okay, so then last one from my charity shop book haul was Forrest Gump by Winston Groom. So really, I just saw the title and thought I had no idea that the film was actually a book.
I didn't know either.
So by the looks of it, it's the novel that inspired the film. So whether or not it's similar, I really don't know. It seems quite similar from the blurb, but I just thought the movie was so beautiful.
I've not seen it.
Oh, I love it. You have to watch it.
As you know, I don't have a long enough attention span for films.
It's a lovely thing. So hopefully a lovely book too.
And then the last 3 I'm just going to show together. It's this lovely collection of early 20th century books.
They're lovely. Let's show them all together like this.
So this one is a German translation of The Picture of Dorian Gray by Oscar Wilde. I love how they Germanized the name and spelled it with a K. This is from 1925. It looks like this on the inside. I don't know if I'm actually going to read this because it's a translation and because it's going to be slightly difficult to read. But I just like having this edition. I have no idea where my parents actually got that from. Then there's an edition of Goethe's Faust. This is actually a Reclam edition. They're like, they do these really flimsy, tiny paper bags, so really cheap, that people read in schools. And this is, I guess, what they look like. So this is a hardcover. It looks like sort of woven cardboard.
Lovely.
And I don't know when this is from. But it looks very similar in the way it's made to the others, and the other 2 are both from the 20s. So this one is a lovely collection of Goethe poems. Yeah. So this is Poems, volumes 1 and 2 by Goethe, and I'm actually planning to read this one because I always wanted to read a proper collection of Goethe poems. I only know the odd one. It's mostly the ones that, you know, were that Schubert made into songs.
Yeah.
So, right.
Perfect.
So then we also have some borrowed books. I just need to run downstairs and get one.
Yeah,
I forgot, and then we'll start them out.
Perfect. Claudia's gone downstairs to get some books she forgot to get. I need to do my eyebrows.
So our next segment is
3.
borrowed books. Because as well as addicted to charity shops, we also like borrowing, recommending books and stuff.
Yeah.
So this one has been on my radar for a while. It's Eleanor Oliphant is Completely Fine by Gail Honeyman. I'm sure everyone here will have already heard of it because it was on the Women's Prize of Fiction long list and also won the Costa Book Prize last year.
Fantastic.
And this was recommended to me by our friend.
Mutual friend.
Yeah, who's hopefully
You
going
know
to
who
be
you are.
who's hopefully going to be on a video with me talking about this. And it was lent to me by a work colleague. I read this in 2 days. I absolutely loved this. I don't want to say anything about it because I really want you to read it.
I know.
And I'm so annoyed I can't give you this because I borrowed it too. But I hope you find your own edition at some point.
I hope so too. Charity shops, come on! The Unseen World by Liz Moore. Claudia recommended this to me. Just from the blurb, it just seems to be kind of like troubled families, Alzheimer's, that kind of thing. But it's quite an interesting setting, I think. So
it's beautifully written. The prose is so good.
Yeah. So I don't know much about it. It's a recommendation.
I hope you like it.
I trust Claudia.
Okay. The same friend who recommended the Eleanor Oliphant book also gave me this. This is Two Princesses of Burma by Gail Carson Levine. Is that how you pronounce that? Levine? Okay. And that's because I was having a conversation with her about how I don't really read any proper fantasy. And she gave me this one as a good starter into proper fantasy.
Finally, the last of my books, I can't believe how many I've got, is Elsewhere by Gabrielle Zevin?
Yeah.
I want to say Zevin, I'm not sure.
Probably.
So I stalked Claudia's Goodreads when I first got the app, and this came up. I read the blurb.
I really enjoyed it when I read it as a teenager. It's one of the books that I rated 5-star just because I loved it so much as a teenager. I read and reread it. It's about a teenage girl who gets hit by a car and then what happens to her after she dies.
Right, yeah. So for me, I just fancied something that was YA, given the fact that I haven't read much YA, and it seems like quite an interesting story. So I'm just going to give it a go with an open mind.
And then this last book is actually the first book I'm going to pick up as soon as Robyn leaves, pretty much. It's I Let You Go by Claire McIntosh. This is your favourite book of the year, right?
So far, honestly, I couldn't put it down. The twists and the turns, unbelievable. I felt every emotion under the sun reading this book. It's only like 300 pages long, but oh my goodness me, everyone needs to read it. And I don't care what you think of it, it's the best book I've ever read this far.
I can't wait to get into it. It's a thriller or is it crime fiction?
So it's a crime thriller, I would say.
Set in Wales.
So it's set in Wales and Bristol. And it's just really, really interesting in terms of perceptions when it comes to crimes, when it comes to murder, when it comes to, the law, basically.
Okay. Don't you spoil me.
I'm not spoiling anything.
Okay.
I'm just going to say it's a really interesting way of, again, seeing both sides. And, I'm not going to say much more, but the twists and the turns to the plot are so, for me, they were so unexpected. I just absolutely loved it.
Okay. This was a haul. Okay, is there anything else we need to say?
Except
please, don't drag me to the bookshops again. This is ridiculous. Look at that.
You can never have enough books.
Yes, you can. Thank you for watching.
Bye!